We're live.
Everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 449. Today is the 21st of June, 2023, and we are happy to be here, and we're going to get into questions after a couple announcements and a couple odds and ends. Going to take a minute and say hello to Bradley here after he gets done with kind of the tech setup stuff. Real quick announcement. If you're watching this for the first time and you're watching this on YouTube, just know that you can always join us live by going to semanticmastery.com/HDHO. That will either take you to the most recent episode or the one that is live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. EST. Also, semanticmastery.com/HD questions. You can always post a question ahead of time. We get it. Not everybody can make it live. So if you can't, you can post your question, catch the replay, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you get updates when the videos are there. So with that said, Bradley, how you doing today?
Peachy, man. Busy. Excited to get the hell out of here. As soon as this is over, I'm off the grid for 4 days. And looking forward to it. So I'm just biding my time. Let's get through this thing.
Keep the announcement short. We're going to roll through the questions.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Man, well, a couple quick things. I just want to touch base. And I mean, I know we get a lot of questions about it. Because I want to post a link to sign up so people can find out more about the directory hybrid agency training. But how have things been going with that in the mastermind? Any updates or anything you can share publicly?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming along great. I'm working out some kind of ways to reduce friction and make it easier for people that want to join the program when we launch it more publicly, to where they won't have to buy their own high-level account, won't have to buy their own geodirectory account, won't have to just a number of things, the email warming and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of tech that goes into setting up for the system, the prospecting and sales machine. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, and they stop dead in their tracks and they don't make any progress because they get stuck in the tech stack. And like, I want to help resolve that. So I spent the last week and a half kind of working through some things, and I'm close to being able to provide the high level account, all the email warming services and all of that, and geodirectory all included in the program, to where that won't be an added expense and all of that. And we're also considering working out, also, it won't be available at least when we initially publicly launch, but perhaps the second time we launch it, or the second time we go through the next program, possibly even having fully done for you stuff to where like people just come in and learn how to do the prospecting and selling for their agency, because that's where most people get stuck. So I and the thing is people get stuck in the tech, and they use that as an excuse to not work on the prospecting and sales, the marketing and sales. And like, that's bullshit excuse. Like, no, I understand you have to have something functioning in order to have the system, the system in place to be able to handle the leads and all that kind of stuff. But the number one priority at that point then should be get the tech stack set up so that you can work on marketing and sales, because that's what generates the revenue. And so we're trying to reduce that, lower the barrier to entry for people and make it easier for people to get right to the revenue generating part of it, which is marketing and sales.
Yep.
So that's what we're working on. I'm working on really getting close to being able to launch this more publicly, even though that all of that won't be included in the initial launch. Yeah. But in the second version of it, I expect that to be done. So
nice. Real quick, Bradley, can you check the redirect? I just refreshed HDHO page and I'm not seeing it.
You know what? Because I was in a rush, I didn't get it done. That's my fault.
No worries.
That's my fault.
Catch up with fix that.
Sorry, guys. Should be, if you click refresh on it now, it should be correct.
All right, let me pull this up. Can you check these? There we go. All right, we are live. Cool. Live and really live. So yeah, I'm going to paste the link in. If you're just catching us live right now, you can click the link down below or on the chat. If you're watching the replay by now, it will appear here in a second. But we've got a short survey, a couple questions. If you're interested in being notified and finding out more about the directory hybrid agency training that Bradley is working on right now with the beta group, when that goes live, we're collecting, people who are interested and want to do this in the first real live class. And if you want to be at the top of that list, because it will be capped out, by all means, fill out the survey. Again, like I said, it's 3 or 4 questions. We're just gauging interest and looking at some areas where you might need the most help. So help us help you, and fill out that survey and get on the list, and we'll let you know when it's ready here. Probably, what are we thinking, Bradley? October, November?
Yeah, October, probably. That my goal is to launch it in October. It will be a very limited access, like initially, because the first kind of, we got a 10-person member or 10 member group or whatever, 10, whatever. There's 10 people in the beta group. and I imagine we'll keep it small for the first like public launch of it too, because I want, I've got to continue developing some of these things into it. But it's a full business in a box. The whole point here is to help people to build a real agent. Like, instead of learning bits of information, like a little bit about SEO here and a little bit about SEO here, and then maybe a little bit about prospecting and sales over here, and then maybe a little bit about fulfillment over here, like, and then trying to assemble all that shit and build an actual operating, functioning agency, it's difficult. It takes a lot of trial and error. And most people get hung up, and that's why most people are, again, most of our audience is between 5 and 15K a month in recurring revenue. That is where most of our audience is. That's just the reality of it. Man, there's so much more opportunity than that. You guys should be making 30K, 50K a month, easy. That should be normal. You know what I mean? And so you shouldn't have to try to figure it out all on your own. And that's the problem with our industry, is there's not really many training programs out there that wrap everything up to where it's a holistic marketing agency program. And that's what I'm trying to do with this. Where you're working on your business first and foremost, always. Your clients, as if you have any integrity, you will take care of your clients, but your business should be the priority, right? That's your legacy, your family. That's what you should put first. And that's what I want to teach people how to do. And that's meaning wrapping everything up into an effective process that you can build a real functioning agency with all of the components in about 6 months. And that, to me, that's like the ultimate goal of this program that I've been working literally around the clock for now for fucking months. And I've got several more months before it's going to be fully ready. But it's a passion project of mine that I really do hope that it helps a lot of people in our industry, or even a small number of people. That's fine. I'm happy with that. And just to get a few more people, some of our current beta members, man, are excited, and I expect to see them have achieve some results from it too. So,
oh yeah, check out the comments.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yeah, from Cecilia. So, also wanted to say something Bradley said before we, hopefully, I don't know if anyone saw it because we didn't have the redirect up, and so you may not have seen it on YouTube, but Bradley was talking about removing, with the next group where we bring people in, we're trying to remove the hurdles so that, you're spending less time fiddling with the tech and more time working on building your business, the sales, the prospecting. Because I'm the same way. And I know I've heard Bradley, we get into the tech stuff, like Bradley still likes doing the SEO tech stuff. But it's so easy to get sucked into that and then be like, oh, you know what? I just didn't, do my prospecting today, or I didn't do that, right? But then you let that go long enough and, you start feeling that pain. Or it's like you said, Bradley, where you get the feast or famine, like, okay, I'm prospecting. Well, now I'm fulfilling. Oh, shit, now I'm out of money and clients. Oh, got to do prospecting again. So it's evening that out and kind of raising the bar for yourself.
Yep. And that's the whole point, guys. I mean, thing is, if you have the problem with the feast and famine or peaks and valleys, of like when you intermittently prospect, right? So like essentially you run out of money, or you need more revenue. So you do a little bit of prospecting, get a few leads in, you close a sale, and then you stop prospecting and stop selling so that you can fulfill. And then, so it's constant feast or famine, right? And it's constant peaks and valleys, this cycle. The thing is, and not only that, but when you do that, you try to latch on to every freaking dollar as much as possible. Like you try to close every sale. You bend over backwards to try to close a fucking sale because you need the money. Like if you had a prospect pipeline full of leads, and you were doing 5, 10, 15 sales calls a week, would you care if somebody told you no? Would you bend over backwards for one pain in the ass prospect in order to close the sale when you got 6 other or 8 other sales calls scheduled that week? Of course you wouldn't, right? So you get rid of fire your pain in the ass clients and work on the ones that are easy to work with, that you can produce results for fairly easily without an additional ton of work. And that's the whole point. People say, well, yeah, but some projects are going to require a ton of work. Well, let those ones go. Like, why bend over backwards to work on a project when you can have 8 other projects that are going to be significantly easier to work on for the same amount of revenue? You know what I mean? Like, why not make it up in volume with easier projects to work on? The only way you're ever going to achieve that is if you have a pipeline full of a consistent lead flow. And in order to have that, you got to have a prospecting and sales machine that is up and running. And so again, that goes back to like, what are we spending our time on? If we're spending all of our time on fulfillment and taking care of our clients, which most of us do, then we're not working on building our own business. And then we try to latch on to this sporadic leads that do come into our agency. We try absolutely everything to close that sale, even when it goes way beyond the scope of what our products and deliverables or services are. And that, I know I've been there, guys. I'm not immune to this or above this. I've been there. I've done it myself. It wasn't until I kind of discovered the, productized services and creating scalable, repeatable systems that then now all of a sudden, now you can make it up for in volume. You don't have to bend over backwards to make one project work. If it's not going to work fitting into your processes and systems, let it go. Fill it with 5 others that are going to work. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Definitely. Well, I'll end it here so we can get to questions pretty quick, and Bradley can hit the dusty road, get on the trails. But I wanted to say one more thing. I sent out an email, I believe it was last week. We were talking about typing mind. So I'm going to post this now. I was writing it out for chat. It's yet another AI tool, but this is really cool. It's a great tool. It's a one-time payment to get kind of the bells and whistles, but it's a really neat one. I highly suggest if you're checking out AI tools, you use ChatGPT, any of that stuff, go check it out. Really cool, and really happy with the developer and what they've done with that. And it just operates on the browser. Super handy. So
which one is this?
This is Typing Mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Really cool tool. So it's a smshort.link/typing mind.
I subscribed to it like 2 months ago and I haven't even used it yet.
Oh, I use it. Yeah, I've been using it a ton with, I was just looking at my whiteboard. I kind of created a new VSL creation template, kind of using Jasper and Typing Mind. I found that they're actually complementary. So anyways, that's what I'm using it for. And there's a ton of good stuff, but zimmwriter, of course, articles, stuff like that. There's a lot of good tools out there. So I just suggest checking it out. If you think you use it, grab it. It's one-time payment. So
beautiful.
Cool. I think that's it. Just right, quick one. POFU Live coming up into September 29th and 30th in Boston. So looking forward to getting people together up there. We have several confirmed speakers. We're waiting on a couple more. But if you want to get your early bird tickets, head over to pofulive.com. That will be, I think I said it, but yeah, outside Boston. Really looking forward to that. Joining up in person. It's going to be a blast. So grab your tickets.
I've always wanted to go to Boston. So
all right.
I don't know why. I've just always wanted to go. And so this is finally going to do it.
I hope we got good weather for it. It's late September, kind of rolled the dice, cold, but beautiful place. So
it'll be fun. All right. It'll be good to be in live again too, in person. Yeah. The virtual events were good too, but, and they were fine, but being live is it's better. So, all right, I'm going to grab a screen. It looks like we got a bunch of questions. So let's roll through them. I'll try to keep it efficient today, guys, because I want to get out of here on time. I'm so looking forward to getting the hell out of here. So I've had enough work for this week. All right, let's get into it. Dustin says, how would you approach getting lots of demo websites cheaply to use on portfolio for an agency building website if we don't have clients in a specific industry and want to enter that space? Build them. Like that's essentially what my whole entire program that I've been working on forever now is about building all up, multiple kind of case studies through your own brand, different locations, and just showing repeatable results across multiple locations so that in the same industry that your target industry. So in other words, when you're pitching, you can use those case studies in your marketing material, your marketing collateral, and then you can also use them in your presentations, in your pitch deck, right? So you point to examples, real live examples that are currently live that you own and control, but is in the same industry as the prospect that you're talking to, so that they can envision themselves, right? Visualize themselves, or that's their business performing well. And not only that, but now you've got lead gen assets that you can use to either rent, so like rank and rent or lease them or whatever, or sell leads, right? So that's what I recommend you do, is to kind of start using your own brand, because you got to build case studies that you can use for marketing collateral and everything else. And then they're monetizable too, right? So there's no reason that you can't do that. That's exactly what I've been teaching and developing in the mastermind, is specifically for that reason. But yeah, definitely, guys, like that's one of the best things you can do. If you know anybody in that industry, here's another approach, but it's going back to building somebody else's brand first, which is why I recommend that you build lead gen assets through your own brand. But the other approach, and I've done this in the past, which is, you know, reaching out to either somebody you know, or somebody that you know that knows somebody that's a business, that owns a business or runs a business in that industry, and an offer to do some work for them for free or for, you know, basically nominal marginal costs, a very, very tiny fee just to cover expenses or whatever, and then use them as a case study. If you need more than one brand to show, you don't really need more than one brand to show though. You need multiple case studies, but you can do it all under one brand, which would be your own, which is what I would recommend. Because then you're building, if you're going to spend time and effort on setting up a case study, why not do it for your own brand, your own company, instead of doing it for somebody else's company, right? Again, that's what we do too often in this business, is we work on other people's companies and help them build their businesses, and we don't build our own. And that is absolutely wrong. Why do we do that, right? Because we want to make money, sure, but shouldn't we be building something that is a, you know, is an asset for us? I think so. So anyway, that's what I would recommend. Come join the mastermind. Check out the directory stuff. Now would be a good time, because once I launch that program publicly, guys, our entire pricing structure is going to significantly change. Just be aware of that. So if anybody's even on the fence, now would be a really damn good time to get into the mastermind. And that is not a joke. That's not a blatant pitch. It was going to change. And so that FOMO, fear of missing out, that's a very real thing that will occur later this year, I promise. Ryan says, do you know of any solid white label apps like Zapier or IFTTT? White label? No, I don't. Adam, that's more your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Just on maybe Pabbly, maybe they have like some things, since they do like bulk pricing. I'm assuming that's kind of what they're asking, but maybe that might be worth checking out. Maybe make.com, but I think they're kind of going the Zapier route, where they're going after larger enterprise stuff. So I would check out Pabbly and maybe email them.
I think you're right. I think some of these were from last week. I don't think I answered all of them though, because I don't remember that one. Maybe I did. Perhaps I am still looking at, I do remember that. I don't remember that Zapier question at all, but I do remember this one about Evo 4.
Yeah,
So,
14 would have been on.
Yeah, would have been last Wednesday. So let me see where else.
Do you remember the Jack Bosch question?
I do remember that one.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's a couple of them.
Oh, and I remember that one too. So just stand by, guys. I'm sorry. I should have gone one more day, but I didn't. How limited should you keep the use of keyword hypertext links in home service pages to what varying degrees or limitation based on the source, i.e. Google Sites first and second, third? Yeah, I showed the local link building diagram for that last week. Sorry, guys. That's all right. We have less questions than I thought, so we ought to be able to get through these rather quickly. Yeah, and I did that one too. Okay. So this should be the actual first question for this week. Sorry, guys. I recapped a little bit. Hope everyone's all right with that. And if not, tough. Next one is from Jason. Jason, long time, man. I haven't seen your name come up in quite some time. But I remember Jason from many years ago. So it's interesting. Does using an overlay on top of an existing site on Google, so when you click on the organic search result, the website is ranking doesn't show up, but another one does, i.e. my client site being overlaid on top of mine, hurt your search engine rankings? It can. Google does not like that. If Google catches on to it, if they find out you're doing it, you can get de-indexed for that shit, for real. I believe they call that cloaking. But that said, can you do it? Yeah. Will it hurt your rankings? It will if they discover it. But some of the more advanced scripts will only do. There are some advanced kind of cloaking scripts or whatever you want to call it out there, overlay scripts, whatever you want to call it, that when it sees the Google bot, when it's the Google bot coming to crawl it, it will only display the underlying page. But for other user agents, etc., then it'll come up and show the overlay page instead. So there are some more advanced scripts that do that. Just be aware, if you get caught by Google, they'll likely de-index your site. But you can do it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's a strategy that's been around for a long time. Will it hurt the rankings if you get caught? Yes, significantly. But just using the overlay, will it hurt the rankings? No, not at all. Not at all. So good to see you here, man. A long time since I've seen a question from you. Phil says, I'm getting into the topical verse keyword topic for website structure. Where exactly on Google do we find the topics and their keywords? Is it in the keyword planner or just Googling a term? Well, the best thing that I can recommend is look at Google or look at Wikipedia entities name, because a lot of Google's language model was trained on Wikipedia, largely trained on Wikipedia, that and several other semantic databases, et cetera. But Wikipedia was one of the largest, one of the sites that they used to train the language model. So what I call named entities in Wikipedia, a lot of the times you can determine that by looking at entities in Wikipedia, looking at capitalization, how keywords or words are combined to create topics. That's the difference. This is Hump Day Hangouts. I'm not going to get deep into that here. That is mastermind level stuff that we're talking about. So all I'm saying is Wikipedia is a good place to start. By the way, I like to use Google and then append Wikipedia to search queries to determine what Google determines are relevant Wikipedia entities for my intended term, which is the seed term that I put in for the search queries. Does that make sense? So in other words, instead of going to Wikipedia and using Wikipedia search, go to Google and search for tree service Wikipedia, tree trimming Wikipedia. I'm using my industry as an example, obviously, but just look at the search results and it will show you what Google determines or thinks are relevant Wikipedia entities for that seed term. And then start to develop a list of related entities to your topic, your industry. And again, this is I've done this manually. There are probably tools that do this. I just don't know of any. And even if I did, I still did it manually because I wanted to go through the process and really learn my industry very well, which is what I recommend that you all do. I'm sure there are tools that do it too. I just don't know of any. So anyway, that's what I do. Also look at Google business categories, guys. Like that's important. If you're doing local stuff, look at categories, Google business categories. There's a great list. Let me pause the screen for a minute. I'll share the link with you. There's a great list from, I believe it's Dalton Luca. I met him at SEO at the beach. And I frequent this often. In fact, if you just search Google business categories in Google, he comes up #1, his page, but I'll put this in chat anyway. And pay attention to some of that stuff too. There it is, Dalton Luca. But if you just search for list, I think it's just list of Google business categories. That's another one to look at to kind of start trying to identify like topics, like, so again, whatever, right there is what I'm talking about. That one right there. But just look at that. Just take a look at that and start, using Wikipedia as that's one of a couple that you could use. But that's all. That's basically all I'm going to say in the Hump Day Hangout, guys. Otherwise, come into the mastermind, and that's seriously just certain things that have to be behind a paywall. That's one of them. I gave you enough information to get started. Oh, one last thing that I can share, guys. Go to Google Trends, right? And go to Google Trends. But look so again, like, if I start to type in tree service, it gives you two options. Okay. God damn it. If I can type properly. Okay. It gives you an option here. Tree service search term or tree service topic. You see? So you can also do topic research with Google Trends. Do not try to compare search terms to topics. If you're going to try to do comparisons, do topic to topic or search term to search term. That makes sense. But you can use Google Trends to also identify things. So for example, I would leave it to United States and I would say 2004 to present or past 5 years to present. A lot of times, if you go with a shorter time frame, you're going to have a lot less data. So I'm going to look at the past 5 years. And this is going to give me, again, see, this is not a very, sometimes the topic analysis is shit in trends, but I'm just giving you some other options. If you look at 2004 to present, it might give you a little bit more data, not much. That makes sense. But you see related topics here. You can go to top and see, okay, tree, plant, service, topic, etc. So again, just start playing around with Wikipedia, Google business categories, Google Trends, things like that. Try to identify and start piecing it together. If you want more kind of formal training on that, again, I talk about this stuff in the mastermind. Got to move on. Hey guys, how would you approach keywords and link building for a semi-automated network of 50 adult websites? Got a new client and not sure the best way to manage because I'm only used to dealing with 1 or 2 sites. That's a good question. I don't do any adult related link building. I
Were
have
we
no
talking
idea.
about that Netflix documentary that talked about the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, new Pornhub SEO
What was
lead.
that? Yeah,
Like,
that was
I
the
know who's
Pornhub.
asking.
Yeah, that was the Pornhub documentary. I can't remember what the name of it was, but
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy when they went to the SEO parts. It was just like, oh, this is genius. Anyways,
yeah,
yeah, sorry, that just reminded me of this.
yeah, the guy built the #1 porn site on pure organic SEO. Like,
Yeah, and then built out the rest. I had no
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
It's just the same thing. Like, yeah, we're just going to take over the entire first page. So
that's a really interesting documentary, guys, on Netflix. You should go look it up. If you haven't seen it, it's really interesting.
yeah, warning, maybe partially not safe for work. So
Was it vulgar? I didn't think it was. I can't remember it being vulgar.
well, I mean, just some of the background stuff. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
it's not like they're actually showing porn or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. But yeah,
I got you. So how would I approach keyword and link building for semi-automated network of 50 adult websites? That's a good question. I don't know because I don't work on anything like that. Typically, I'm working on single projects or multi-location projects because I do local SEO, like almost exclusively. I can't really answer that one, Eric. I don't know. I'd have to think through that. And it's not something that I'm going to be able to do on a live Hump Day Hangout. I'd have to ponder that and then get back to you on it.
yeah. I'm curious, Eric. If you're in the mastermind, I would post in there. I'm just going to assume you're not. If you are, I apologize. But if you are, post in there because that's a topic I would love to go into in the mastermind, kind of behind closed doors with something I'm working on. I know there's other people in there too that have potentially some interest or are doing similar things, not in that niche potentially, but that would be a good place to ask.
All right. So next one is Bob Vance. Hey guys, I have a client with multiple GMBs for their service area business. They don't want the GMB map embeds on the homepage, and nor should they. And instead want them on the About Us page. I have the organization schema on the homepage, and in it, I have the main entity of page set to the About page that talks about the brand authors. You have organization schema on the homepage, and in it have the main entity of page set to the About page. Huh. I've never seen that implementation. The main entity of the page should not be referencing another page. The main entity of the page should be referencing an element that's marked up with a schema type on that page. Because if it can't be the main entity of page if it's referencing another page, right? Does that make sense? I mean, maybe I'm not the schema savant, okay? But that logically that doesn't make any sense to me, Bob. And I'm not picking on you, man. I'm just saying the main entity of page of my understanding is it should be designate when there's multiple schema elements on a single page. Then the main entity page is the way to tell the Google bot what is the main entity of the page, hence the name main entity of page. So what out of these marked up elements on the page is the main entity, especially if they're not connected properly. Like if you have individual instances of schema on the same page that are not connected properly, connected data items, connected schema, nested schema, there's a number of terms for it that all mean basically the same thing. But if they're not appropriately connected, then it kind of confuses the bot unless there is a main entity of page designation, which tells the bot, okay, there's multiple instances of schema on this page, but this is the one that should be prioritized. This is what the main entity of the page is about, which again, my understanding is you wouldn't reference an entity on another page at that point. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of it. And logically, it doesn't make sense to me. Is this the Vance from Twitch? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say real quick, could you go on click on the name? Is it Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration? I'm just curious. Can you click on his name?
It is.
That's awesome. It's from The Office. That's good.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. So hopefully, I don't know if that's clear or not, but from my understanding that main entity of page shouldn't be referencing another page. It should be referencing the whatever you has designated as the main schema type or element of that page. Okay. So oftentimes it'll be like main entity of page will reference an organization or something like that if there's multiple instances of schema. So why I bring that up is because if you have a multi-location business, organization schema is appropriate for the home page if you have separate location landing pages, right? And when I say organization schema, guys, really the more appropriate schema for organization is the subtype corporation schema, which is a subtype of organization, because organization schema is technically for nonprofit organizations or associations like government organizations and things like that, where a corporation is for a for-profit business. So corporation schema is more, again, a subtype of organization is more appropriate for a for-profit business. So a multi-location local business should have corporation schema on the homepage and have dedicated location landing pages for each location, with local business schema with the appropriate subtype on each location landing page. Does that make sense? And then each location landing page, that's where the Google Map embed would go for that specific location. I wouldn't want to put a whole bunch of Google Maps on any one page for a number of reasons. Number one, it'll slow the hell out of the page to where like it's almost, it really slow to load and all that. It's not a good user experience. Number two, what are you doing? What kind of geo signals are you sending when you have multiple name, address, and phone numbers and or map embeds on the same page? What is the page optimized for then? Which location? If there's multiple locations on the page, you're confusing Google. Make it easy on Google, right? If you've got a multi-location business, the homepage should be a brand page and have corporation schema that can reference all of the local business or appropriate subtype locations within the corporation schema, right? That's nested connected schema. All of that is easy to do. And then on each individual location landing page, which should have a dedicated landing page for each location. So you have a separate and unique URL for each Google business profile. Does that make sense? And then on that, you would put the local business schema with the appropriate subtype. And then on the other pages on the site, like service pages, for example, that's where you would put service schema. I see a lot in audits that people still are applying local business schema on every page. Like they do it, they put it in the HTML header, so it's global or site-wide. That is absolutely improper implementation. Remember, schema is code that is written specifically for the search engine bots to describe what that page is about. So if you insert schema globally across every single page, you might as well not have it at all, because you're telling Google this page, every single page on this site is about this one thing, which it's not. That's not the case. So you should only have whatever you designate as your entity home is where you should have your, that can be the home page. It can be an about page. Whatever your entity home is where you should have your, it's a multi-location business, your corporation schema, organization or corporation. Again, I'm always going to recommend corporation if it's a for-profit business. And then you would, again, you'd have separate local business schema on each location landing page, service schema on service pages, etc. That makes sense. That's the better way to do it, in my opinion. Okay. So anyway, as far as that, I just don't understand this implementation. I don't know. I mean, it might not provide invalidation, like errors or warnings in the schema markup validator, but that's not proper implementation as far as my understanding. I could be wrong, guys. I am not the schema savant. I just do basic local business type schema for the most part. Only in really competitive markets do I go and even do like service schema and stuff like that. I generally don't go that deep with it, because for local, I usually don't have to. So anyway, I hope that's clear, man. I'm just not sure I understand the implementation, how you've got that configuration. It's not logical to me. It doesn't make sense. I've not seen that in the wild either. So would be bad to have local business schema on each GMB on the about page? Or would you suggest having all on one page? Never all on one page, man. Again, you're ambiguating the main entity of the page when you do that. And that's precisely what that designation main entity of page is for, is to disambiguate, like when you got multiple entities or schema types, elements, marked up elements on the page. That tells Google this is the one that should be prioritized. That's what this page is primarily about. That makes sense. So anyway. My former partner, Marco, and his partner, Rob, at the Heavy Hitter Club, Rob is a fucking schema savant. So if you want seriously good schema training, go check out Rob Beal, the Heavy Hitter Club, or Clint Butler. He's got Rank Gear, which is a software I've seen. I've not used it myself because I don't do a lot of advanced schema, but it looks really cool as well. Clint's a schema ninja too. So like there's several other people out there that you can learn from schema better than me for sure. Anyway, and so if I said anything wrong about schema, guys, forgive me, but I'm just clarifying right off the bat. I'm not the schema nerd. No, I'm effective enough with it to get results for local clients for the most part. And that's about the extent of my schema knowledge. So Roland says, what's up, guys? Love your work for agencies or for us agencies. Wondering if you could recommend a solution for building, scaling, and managing landing pages for PPC like Google Ads, etc. Looking for something I can use for my own projects and clients on a subdomain. If so, how would you approach it? I talked about this, I think last week actually, but I use swipe pages because I got it from AppSumo a long time ago, like probably 3 years ago now. But for all my Google Ads campaigns, these are the landing pages that I create all those with swipe pages because it just loads really, really fast. They're HTML pages. I think it's great for that. Again, I bought it on a lifetime deal when it was on AppSumo, like probably 3 years ago now. So I don't know what the pricing is now. But this is what I use. I don't have any others that I can recommend just because this is all I've used for Google Ads for probably, well, 3 years now. And I don't do a ton of Google Ads stuff really anymore, not search ads. They just become hard to make profitable. So, but whenever I do run Google Ads campaigns, this is where all my landing pages are created through this. That's the extent of my experience. Hopefully that's clear. That's swipepages.com. It's not that expensive. Well, at least it wasn't. Yeah, you get unlimited landing pages. I guess they cap by visitors, but it's an interesting way to cap a product.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing 20,000, 50,000, views, that's I don't think most people are going to hit that. So
that's weird. That's kind of an odd monetization strategy, I think, for whatever. It's not my business. I use it though. It's a good service. If so, how would you approach it? Would you make it as SaaS attached to your agency or have a client pay so they own all the pages? So how would you approach it? Would you make it a SaaS attached to your agency? Looking for professional but commercially viable approach at the moment. I'm just pointing to service pages on the client site. Yeah, that's not a good idea. But some pages I can't control or amend and they're not suited, and no index landers would be better for conversions. I totally agree. So yeah, I just don't know what your monetization strategy is there for trying to say like as a SaaS attached to your agency. Personally, me, I would just roll in like landing page creation as part of the monthly retainer. That's what I would do. So it wouldn't be a separate subscription or anything like that. It would just be part, like I would add that as a line item into my monthly retainer as a deliverable, like 3 landing pages per month or something like that. That's what I would do. And that's how I would build that in as a line item in my monthly retainer like budget or fee guide or fee schedule, or whatever you want to call it. That makes sense. It would be a deliverable. So it'd be a line item saying like, 3 or 5, whatever landing pages per month. That's how I would do it. Okay. But again, that's because that's the service I'm using. If you find a service that you can spin off like subscriptions and stuff for, by all means, test it. I don't, that's not something that I do. So anyway, moving on. Ted says, if you had to buy tier 2 pbns to point at tier 1 assets, that then links to a money page with a URL anchor, which platform would you pick as the target and what anchor text for the best bang for the buck? Okay. Same as I always point out, guys, smshort.link/LLB for local link building. That's going to show you the local link building diagram. Okay. smshort.link/LLB. So redirect will take you to this right there. That's what we do. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule. It's not law. We don't do that 100% of the time, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb that we abide by. My whole team does. So if you're talking about, which by the way, I don't like URL anchors. I don't like them. I don't build them. If you're going to do brand URL anchors are in the same category. So why not build a brand anchor? I think anchor text should be descriptive of what it is linking to. Full stop. And so URL anchors, you're going to get those naturally anyways, likely from other sources. So why intentionally build those? It doesn't make sense to me. Build a brand anchor instead. Anyway, regardless of whether it's a brand anchor or a URL anchor, it doesn't matter. The point is that I do a mix of target and topic links or anchor text at tier 2. What is the difference? A target anchor is keyword plus location modifier. A topic anchor is a keyword only. So a target anchor only applies for local because it would be keyword plus city or city plus keyword or keyword plus near me or one of the many variants of near me, like nearby, around me, close to me, etc. Does that make sense? Topic anchor would be keyword only. So product or service keyword without location modifier. And so we typically do this. Again, this is not a hard and fast rule, but this is a general rule of thumb, general guidelines that we abide by, which is we do mostly brand anchors at tier 1. So linking directly to tier 0 assets for Google Business Website and Google Map. So for Google properties, we also do a lot of embeds. That's what that dotted line or dashed line is. That represents embeds, which is why you see the money site. We don't do embeds, but we do a lot of brand anchors. Very rarely do we build URL anchors. Again, I don't like to do those. But at tier 2, we do a lot of target anchors. So that's keyword plus location modifier. But we also mix topic anchors in. And if you're linking at tier 2 to branded assets, shouldn't you also be using brand anchors at tier 2? Yes, that's a yes. Everybody nod in agreement. Yes, right? If you're linking from tier 2 to a tier 1 branded asset, brand anchors are fully appropriate. And if not, actually, that's a really good strategy because, again, it's reinforcing the brand. And then at tier 3, you do the target. And at tier 4, if you go out that far, topic. And again, you mix some of these in topic anchors along with target anchors. Okay. And also, by the way, I call what I call compound anchors is brand plus something. So like brand plus location modifier, brand plus city, brand plus a product or service keyword. So brand plus keyword, brand plus location, etc. Right. So those are what I call compound anchors that still fall within the brand anchor or brand/URL anchor category. If that's clear. All right. So again, smshort.link/LLB, that'll take you to this diagram, bookmark it, whatever. It's just a general rule that we follow. It works really well. Keep that in mind, though. Remember, guys, at tier 2, if you're linking to branded assets, you should also be building brand anchors at tier 2. Okay. What platform would you pick? I would pick a platform that's relevant. That's it. Relevant. That's all I base my link building on. Relevance. So check the platform. Determine, is it relevant? Is it providing topical and or geographic relevance? And if so, it's a good platform. I don't care what the metrics are. The metrics are a secondary metric, in my opinion. If it has relevance and high traditional metrics, choose that one, right? If you're comparing multiple link sources and they all have relevance, then look at those other metrics. What has the highest DR or highest DA or whatever? You can look at those metrics if you like, and that's a secondary metric that I use. But first and foremost is it relevant? Is it going to provide topical relevance or geographic relevance, or in the rare cases, a combination of both? That's what you should be looking for. Next. I think I already did that one. All right. This one is, I don't know what that is, but I'm not going to click on that. It looks like a YouTube link, but who knows? And anyway, Bradley mentioned using content at scale, but in a previous video, I mentioned he's using ZimmWriter for all his content. What are the best practices for using each of these services? Yeah, I use ZimmWriter myself for all of and my entire link building team, which we've got 18 writers now. Fucking crazy. It's crazy. They're all using ZimmWriter. But for our money site content that we publish, and we have a blogger or a writer that does, and she's really anything now, she's more of an editor than anything, because content at scale produces most of our money site content now. And then it's human edited. She manages that. So content at scale is for money site content. That's what we use it for. For link building content. And by the way, you can use ZimmWriter for that. It just requires more direction, right? And ZimmWriter is fantastic, guys. It's my favorite by far. It is my favorite AI writing assistant app that I've ever used. Hands down. It's fantastic. I love it. My whole team loves it. But content at scale we use for money site content. You can use ZimmWriter for that if you develop your own outline and all that kind of stuff. But why I like content at scale is it makes it very efficient for us to produce really well done articles that are well researched, because you can add source URLs to the content at scale app, so that like you can say, like, use these source URLs as a reference point to build the content. So you can go in and feed it specific information that you want it to develop content for. You can probably do that with ZimmWriter. I just haven't learned how to do that, because content at scale, which is incredibly expensive, but it's great for money site content. And then again, my writer Esther, she's been working for me for, I think, since 2015, long time, maybe even longer. She's the one that manages all that. And so she goes into content at scale, creates the order or the whatever, tells it what to do and what to produce. And then once it produces it, then she goes in and manually edits that and goes through a revision process with the client, the customer. She manages all of that. I don't have to mess with it. But for ZimmWriter, we use ZimmWriter for link building content. I use it personally for any content that I need to develop myself, just because I'm very comfortable using it. Oh, and by the way, I do use content at scale myself occasionally. I actually just generated 2 articles today. In fact, one of them was for, I got a tree service contractor client in Massachusetts, and apparently emerald ash borer is like destroying a bunch of trees up there. So he said he wants to put a page on a site for emerald ash borer. And so I said, okay, I'll develop an article for you. I went right to content at scale. I went to Google and I searched for emerald ash borer in Massachusetts. I extracted all the top relevant articles and PDFs from like Massachusetts Institute of Technology and things like that are all talking about emerald ash borer. I plugged all that in as the content. I hit go. About an hour later, I came back. I had a 2,200 word article, really well developed with references that cite the sources, tweets already embedded in it and all that stuff. And I sent it to the client and said, here's the article that we drafted for you. What do you think? And he was like, wow, that's really well done. Content at scale did that. And I didn't even really, I did a little bit of editing myself, but probably 15 minutes of editing, and that was it. So it's great. They're both great, just depending on what your needs are for and how much editorial, how much editing you want to do too. So that makes sense. Anyway, hopefully that's clear. Would you consider geographic links safe for pointing to a homepage or a service page? Either one, it doesn't matter. It's about pushing relevance to a local entity. It doesn't matter where you point the link to. You know, I guess it depends on the content. Context doesn't really matter so much. Topical relevance for the geographic things, there's a pretty unique way that we do it when we're building local blogs, and then we use those to build geographic relevance to sites. Because topical relevance really doesn't matter. If you can get topical relevance in addition to geographic relevance, do that, but it's not required. Go with brand anchors though, for the most part, guys. Not keyword anchors. Go with brand anchors for the most part. Again, back to this. We follow this very, very clearly, or we're very good about following this. Like I said, this is variable out here, but this is almost law. We do almost entirely brand anchors to the home, to the money site. We do mix keyword anchors in, but we do, the vast majority are going to be brand anchors because it's just safer. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. Yeah, you can point to either. Something else, guys, geographic links. When you're using geographic links, you can use the address as an anchor text, and that's effective. That's a nugget I just dropped, guys. I'm not going to repeat that again. All right, next. Any thoughts on Google suing and ranking? Yeah, I saw that today. I actually posted that in our mastermind. I swear to God, I posted that earlier today in our mastermind. Yeah, you know, it's not the fake GBPs that you should worry about. It's the fake reviews. That's the biggest problem. So that's what gets people in trouble, is the fake reviews. And I've been talking about that for months. Use at your own risk. Okay. You can be sued. You can also be brought up on criminal charges for that shit by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. No kidding. You got to be real careful about that, guys. I'm not kidding. I know we all have done it. You got to be really careful about using fake reviews, guys. I'm not so worried about the businesses. Here's the thing. If you do it the way that I teach, which is if you're going to create a lead gen asset, create a DBA, a doing business as, a fictitious name, and register it with your state. Then it's not illegal. It's not a fake business. It's a real fucking business, right? I've got a LLC and I've spun a bunch of DBAs off of that. And that's fine. You only need one company. You can create fictitious names or DBAs, doing business as, register it with your state. Go to Google, whatever state you're in, search State Corporation Commission, state, whatever your state is, right? And then figure out how to register a DBA or a fictitious name. It's a process. It's very simple. I can do it 100% online now. 3 years ago, you had to go down to the local courthouse and go to the city clerk's office and actually get a DBA, a fictitious name certificate, notarized and recorded at the courthouse. You don't have to do that, at least not in the state of Virginia anymore. Again, every state's going to be different. In the state of Virginia now, I can do it 100% online. I go to the Virginia State Corporation Commission website, and I can log in and I can register a DBA, a fictitious name, against my LLC. And then once it's registered, I can request a certificate of fact, is what it's called. And that is a document to state that you are, that the fictitious name is operating under a corporation or an LLC, if that makes sense. And now you have corporate documentation that allows you to use that name. That's not a fake business. It's a fictitious name, but it's registered under a real business. So it's not the rank and rent businesses that cause the problem. It's the reviews that cause the problem. And by the way, if you're doing a bunch of rank and rent business or websites and using fake business names that you don't register as DBAs, yeah, you can get in trouble for that too. You can be fined for that. I don't know that you can get criminal charges for that, but you can be fined for that. So get a DBA. It's not hard, guys. It costs $10 in the state of Virginia to do it. $10, literally $10, DBA, fictitious name. It's easy. Do it. It's not hard. If you don't have an LLC, get one. It's easy to set those up too, inexpensive. So anyway, again, it's not about the profiles themselves. If you have a DBA, they're valid, they're legit. At least technically they are, right? Just the reviews, it'll kill you. Amelia says, hey there, this is Amelia from Glendale. Okay. Been hearing a lot about Google stacking for SEO lately. Okay. Can you share some effective strategies? It's funny because that's like when did we launch that? I think that was in 2015. I'm not picking on you, Amelia.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on Amelia. That's funny. Lately, I've been hearing a lot about Google stacking. It's like been around for 8 years. And I just found that was funny, Amelia. I'm not picking on you, I promise. Anyways, can you share some effective strategies for implementing Google stacking to boost my website search engine performance? Yeah, just get it done from a good provider. I'm eager to learn and improve my online presence. Thank you. I can tell you right now, David Morgan, who is an avid member, he's right there. He is right there. David in the chat. Of course he is. David, drop your link, man. David does Google Stacks. He's awesome. He's a ninja. So I would encourage you to buy Google Stacks from Amelia, or excuse me, from David, Amelia. I would buy Google Stacks from David, and he will treat you right. You'll get a good, strong stack. And then there's other things that you can do once you get the stack. But David, if you dropped your link, if you haven't yet, do it. Put it in chat, man. That way it'll be in the replay too. Hopefully that makes sense. There's some other providers too. Again, like honestly, like the Heavy Hitter Club, former partner of mine, Marco, a former partner of ours, Marco, and they still do the best stacks. It takes forever to get them delivered, but they are phenomenal. They are really good stacks. There's no question, but it takes a long time to get them delivered. But they're good. But David will probably deliver it a hell of a lot faster. So I would try David stacks. Jim said, what's up, Jim? Long time, man. Several months ago, you spoke about implementing Derral Eves' channel Jumpstart program on the SM channel. Can you offer a review of the program? Is it worth the $6K? It is if you implement it. I had full intentions on implementing that, but then I got caught up in the directory hybrid stuff, and I had to put that on the back burner. So eventually, when that program is finally done and all the development is done, then I'm definitely going to go back to promote our program in semantic mastery through that channel Jumpstart program, which is going to be a lot more content, creating content and being on YouTube and stuff like that. I just don't have the bandwidth of the time to do it right now. I think it was absolutely worth it. I learned more about YouTube and how the algorithm actually works. And it's not just about the SEO, guys. It's like that. That's only a really tiny, and it's not SEO really. It's how to trigger the YouTube algorithm. Derral, like he's got it down to a science. He knows exactly what, and his program teaches you exactly what to do to trigger, to get your videos suggested and YouTube suggestions. That's where most traffic comes from, is through suggested videos. That's really where the true growth and everything occurs in YouTube. It's not through paid ads, although paid ads can augment or help that. And it's not through video SEO the way that we know it. It's through triggering the algorithm a very specific way. And there's a number of ways that you can do it. And Derral teaches that very, very thoroughly. But that's not what the program's about. The program's about also creating hooks and creating the proper scripts and editing properly and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff that I don't want to do, I just want to do the content creating part of it and then hire out like the video editors and all that other kind of stuff. And I fully think it was worth the $6,000. It would be worth it more had I implemented everything, but I have access to it now indefinitely. So that means when I am ready and I have more bandwidth to devote to the marketing side of things, we will be approaching and implementing a lot of that. So probably the beginning of next year. So, okay, that was it for those. Adam, anything you want to add? Got about 7 minutes.
Yeah, just going back over there, we got a ton of comments, but sorry, I don't know why my screen shrank down so much. Hide chat? Nope, that is not a good idea. There we go.
David's not even here anymore, apparently, because he's not dropping a goddamn link, man.
There we go.
This is the first time I've asked somebody to drop a link to one of their services that it wasn't like immediate. This is like, stop dragging your feet, drop the link, man.
David, I think, was talking to this, but also, let me see. Sorry, what was this? Spartan Pest Control was asking, who do you recommend to white label monthly SEO? Finding myself too busy. Any recommendations, Bradley?
Yeah, I'll send you, schedule a call with me, man. We'll have a chat. I only do white label, full service white label by invitation only, but stand by. I'm going to drop the link in a minute. Just schedule a call with me is all I'm saying. Let's have a chat. I'll determine if it's a good fit. And if not, then maybe I can provide some other providers that can help you. I'm very selective about doing full service SEO. It's way more complicated than just doing link building. Link building is so much better as a white label provider because it's all off page. As soon as you start getting involved in as a white label provider doing on page stuff, it adds so much complexity. It's almost not worth it. I swear to God, it's almost not worth it. Because it adds so much complexity to everybody, the whole team, because you have to access other people's accounts. It's just a real pain in the ass. Link building is so much better as a white label service, in my opinion. Anyways, let me grab a link here and I'll send it to you. You know what? I'm going to send you the link to my directory hybrid agency exploratory call. It's going to be the same. It's a 15-minute call with me. So even though it's whatever, just schedule a damn call with me. If anybody here is interested in potentially or learning more about the directory hybrid agency model and what we've been, God damn it, what I've been developing.
While Bradley's under there, David, I just saw your comments. If if it's not working for you or something, if you can shoot an email to support@semanticmastery.com with the link, or I don't know if we're connected on Facebook, but we can get the link put up here at least afterwards so people can come back and check
Is it not allowing him to post his link? Is that
I'm guessing not. So
hey, David, ping me in Facebook right now with it. I'll post it for you. Just hit me in Facebook Messenger. I'll grab it from you real quick and paste it. Now I know why he wasn't dropping, and I was picking on him, telling him stop dragging your feet. He was trying the whole time. Yeah, if you hit me up in Facebook Messenger, David, I'll post it before we end this up, wrap this up. Anyway, guys, I posted in, let me put this on the screen, sorry. Okay. All right, so there you go. You guys can see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. DHA call, I know what it says. That's for the directory hybrid agency, exploratory call, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a 15-minute call on my schedule. If anybody's interested in learning more about the directory hybrid agency to see if it's a good fit for you, or white label services, whatever, just schedule a 15-minute call with me, guys. Don't hesitate. I'm not going to bite your head off. I don't do any hard sales pitching. We'll have a chat. If it makes sense, move forward. If not, so be it. It's not going to hurt. I'm not going to hurt you. I say that because I know a lot of people are apprehensive about jumping on calls and stuff like that. No, it's not like that, man. Let's have a conversation and see if it makes sense. Okay. Have you hit me up yet, David? Let me check. Boom. Ask and ye shall receive. I don't wonder why it doesn't like your link, David. What have you been doing to YouTube?
I wonder if it can go, if it's not or if it can't, it has to be by an admin of the channel. You know what I mean? Or a moderator.
I'm getting a 404, but I wonder if that's that. I think you got an extra E on the end of your link, because it says service with 2 E's at the end. I think that's why. Oops, sorry. Let me get back over here. Yeah, that was it. There was too many E's in that. Let's go ahead and copy that. This is David, man. David Morgan's a fucking ninja. He's an avid follower of Twitch and Hump the Hangouts, and had a great conversation with it a couple weeks ago. I've yet to buy one of these from you, David, and my bad. I just haven't had the bandwidth to even test yet. But anyways, I know him, and I trust that he does a really good job. He's been in Staxio for God forever. So there you go. There's David's link.
Hooray.
Spartan says, thanks. Yay, I'm looking for off-page SEO only. Well, then let's have a call, man. No doubt. So I can help you with semantic links. I promise you that. And again, that's a lot easier. There's not really an application process for that, because link building is so much easier to manage as a white label provider. Trust me, it's way easier. So Anyway, yeah, absolutely, man. Just contact me. You got my link now. Schedule a 15-minute call. Let's have a chat. If it makes sense, let's do it. Anything else I need to address here, Adam, or should
I
we
didn't
wrap
see
it up?
anything. I think we're good. Let me see. I just see one, and I don't know, maybe you answered it. It says, do you classify G sites as tier 1 and safe to
Yes.
link to, or to embed main website in GMB?
Well, G sites are going to be tier 1 if they're linking directly to money site, regardless of whether they're branded or not. A tier 1 link just means it's linking directly to a tier 0 asset, which would be a money site or a Google business asset. That's the way I describe everything. But I talk about using G sites as branded assets. Yes, you can still use G sites for link building that aren't branded assets, but where the G site, I think, becomes the most powerful, and what we've been teaching since 2015 is to build branded G stacks. So that becomes a branded tier 1 asset. There's a difference between a tier 1 link or tier 1 asset I consider branded. But anyways, yes, you can build a lot of power to a Google business, a G site.
Just a quick follow-up to you remember the overlay question? This is really funny. David said, I used an overlay on a website with over 400 posts. It was the perfect way to tank a site. Yeah, beware.
Right on.
Cool.
All right, guys, 5 o'clock on the money. I got to get the hell out of here, guys. I'm going to go ride an ATVs for the next 4 days in West Virginia. I'm looking forward to it. So
Awesome. Enjoy, Bradley.